surprised me that it ended up being a memoir and that I had enough information, and it all was so thematic, and I thought a lot about memory and legacy and passing that stuff on. But I also thought a lot about how alone I was when this was happening, how alone I felt, and I had the support, total support of my husband and my bestie, but I'm an only child, and it was just, I would hear friends talk about doing the same with their families, needing to do something with grandma or needing to do something with mom, and the fights they would have with siblings about that. Who was going to take care of her, and who rushed in as the hero who lived, 5 states away, and those kinds of things. And, they would say to me, oh, you're so lucky you get to make all these decisions yourself. Yes, I guess I was lucky that I got to make them all myself, but it was very, very lonely. So I wanted another aspect of writing it down and publishing it was that I wanted people to not feel so alone, whether they were part of a larger sibling group or an only like me or the only one left. I just wanted them to know that I know my experiences aren't unique. Maybe my stories about my mother are unique, but I know that the experience itself isn't unique. I just wanted people to know that they weren't alone. And yeah, and that became a driving force.
Walk me through the process of like writing the memoirs when it became a full memoir. Like, how did you structure that exactly?
I didn't. So I got the assignments from the classes I was taking, and we were only to bring 5 pages at a time to class, and I'm a do things at the last minute kind of person, so classes were on Saturday, and I would get up on Saturday. I'd think about it all week, but I'd get up on Saturday morning and I would write it, and then I would go to class. And I only had to write 5 pages, and I knew I could get 5 pages down, and then we would read them to each other and give feedback and so on and so forth. And then when I realized that I had volume and that it kind of had some order to it, it kind of had a vessel, if you will, of the time that my mother was, I call it incarcerated, because she would have, had she been in her right mind. I realized I was sitting on my living room floor, and my husband can attest to this, was sitting on my living room floor putting out papers along essays along the floor of things that had happened, and they were in a chronological order. And it was then that I had the idea to do the flashbacks. So the first part of each chapter is what is happening with my mother at the time in memory care. And then the second half of it is something that happened at that time of year in my younger or not so younger life. And in between is a poem. Poetry grabs me the same way other things do, and so a lot of those got written with Sharpie on the glass too. And I picked the ones that went with the months that they were in, and I felt like they were that they gave more depth to the understanding of my relationship with my mother without my having to write lengthy prose to explain it. So I feel like the book is in black and white, and I feel like the poetry is a color snapshot.